Biohazard warning. Entering contaminated zone. Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only. Backup activated. System rebooted.
What is going on, agents? Your boy Sly here with another Division video for you. And today I wanted to try and answer a big question that I've been getting from some of you guys out there in Twitter land, and that is simply about power. More specifically, weapons. I have a ton of Twitter messages asking me what is going to be the next king in terms of firepower. So with that in mind, I wanted to take a deep dive into what's on the horizon for the fans of the Division, as well as what I think will be the next go-to in terms of firepower. So I'm going to try to make a top 5 overall list, and then I'm going to break it down for each category. Honestly, I've been thinking a lot about this since the reveals at E3. With the blind battle rifle taking a backseat, the only other new type of weapon that is halfway unique is going to be the fully automatic shotgun, the Showstopper or the AA-12. So while we are getting new weapons, they're just going to be adding more into an already existing archetype. Now, while we may know how these new weapons might handle by looking at real-world examples, the new intrinsic weapon abilities being added is another story entirely. So, unfortunately, E3 was way out of my league, and having a hands-on approach to some of these new weapons would have been a big help in writing this up. But right now, they're pretty much a question mark to not only myself, but a lot of us out there. So I'm going to approach these case by case. Alright guys, well let's go ahead and dig in. Right now, the community is pretty much up in arms over the coming changes in 1.3, and that's mainly because SMGs have been so strong that everyone has been farming them the past 5 months trying to find the best of the best to now have it suddenly change. Well, don't worry guys, the changes are small on the AUG and Vector, and it's only a 10% reduction. And if you have an AUG doing like, 12.4 thousand damage, it's still going to be 11.1 thousand in damage. It's not that big of a reduction. It's also happening to everyone, so it's not like your AUG will be weaker compared to everyone else's. Although the big one here is the crit chance removal. For those of you out there that don't know, it's official. Only weapons that drop after the 1.3 update will roll with critical hit damage. Critical hit chance will stay on all of your old weapons, and for the first few days of the update, it's probably going to be the best way to go. Keeping your critical hit chance is going to be the best route to take until you can fully transition over to a critical hit damage build or to go to another weapon setup entirely. Also take note that critical hit damage does not have a cap, so this could actually make your weapons even deadlier if you can stack up enough critical hit damage. The only thing to take into account here are the Vector's very small mag size. That's why this might be getting left behind a little bit. Even with making out a clip size of over 40, the speed at which it fires still makes you reload way too fast, and with these slight changes, I think the Vector will be hit the hardest. So while we're on SMGs, let's talk about that PP-19. Now in real life, the PP-19 is a large mag, fast-firing, small submachine gun. It fires between 600 to 700 rounds per minute, and its stock mag size holds 64 bullets. That's thanks to its oddly shaped barrel-like magazine found underneath the barrel itself, and it almost looks like a grenade launcher. Its closest relative is the well-known AK-74S, and they actually share 3/4 of the same parts, so it makes sense that we should expect the same performance with the same amount of behavior, just with more bullets. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any gameplay of it, so this is all speculation on my part, but it also uses 9mm rounds, so I expect to fit it in somewhere between the MP5 and the MP7. With that said, SMGs will still be plenty powerful come June 28th. However, depending on what the PP-19 translates to in-game, I think this opens up the opportunity for the MP5 and the MP7 to make a huge comeback. I have a 204 MP5 ST and I absolutely love it. It's the most stable out of them all, and it has a large mag and it pumps out 1,000 rounds per minute when modded. Granted, you trade off less damage, but those extra rounds per minute make up for it in my opinion. Right now, the AUG and the Vector cannot be beat, but come update 1.3, I think we're going to see the MP5 and the MP7 step up into the limelight. But again, this all depends on the PP-19. So for SMGs, my top 3 in this category will be the MP5 ST as number 1, the MP7 as number 2, and the AUG still hanging in there at number 3. Alright guys, next we're going to move on to shotguns. Now shotguns are kind of in a weird place right now. This new stagger approach will be quite useful, but it remains to be seen if it will actually work the way it sounds. Rushing shotgunners are the only mechanic in this game that actually makes it difficult, besides mortars of course, so if this stagger effect actually stuns the target long enough to be able to fire back without getting two-shot in level 34 activities, then it won't change the shotgun's fate as a backup weapon, but it will be seeing a lot more action. Now in PvP, shotguns will be getting a pretty big damage increase of 30%. This is a pretty substantial boost, guys. My favorite shotgun right now is the M870, which can roll well into the 90,000s in terms of damage. So for instance, if you have an M870 at the middle range of about 85,000 damage, you're looking at a damage of over 110,000. With that boost. Remember, this is the middle range of things as well. Add on brutal or build towards critical hit chance, because remember, every pellet has a chance to crit, then you yourself have a beastly weapon. And take note, this is only mid-range numbers, guys. The M870 shoots plenty fast for a shotgun, as the Rikers have no doubt shown all of us by now. Now, as for automatic shotguns coming into the game, we're going to have to see how fast they actually shoot and how bad the recoil is. The SASG is the fastest firing shotgun in the game right now, and because of that, it has very low damage, and it is absolutely garbage in my eyes. So we're going to have to see about that. The king of shotguns will without a doubt be a variant of the M870. If you bought that blueprint a few months ago, this will be a good starting point come June 28th. Until you can find a higher scored version, of course. Now, the Super 90 will come in at a close second, and if you keep an eye on your headshots, it's not that bad of a weapon as well. A definite contender when stagger comes into play. Alright guys, next let's move on to auto rifles. Now, Armor Shred will unfortunately only apply to ARs after the update, and on top of that, it's not going to work in PvP, so this is a PvE buff only for the time being. Now, I was liking that new blind battle rifle, but with it out of the picture and no footage to go on of the G36, I'm going to have to look back at the things in-game. So when talking about Armor Shred, we're going to see the same range as critical hit chance, anywhere from 20 to 25%, or at least that's the way the devs made it sound. And with that in mind, the best choices are going to be on opposite ends of the AR types. You either want to go harder hitting, slower rounds per minute, or full-on bullet hose with a little less damage. Now, exactly how enemy armor damage will work is still a bit of a mystery. It hasn't been fully explained. I think it's either going to ignore 20-something% of the enemy's armor and base damage off of that, or it will simply take the cheap way out and give you 20-something% extra damage while shooting an enemy that still has armor. Once the armor has been whittled away, you're back to your normal AR damage. But as we all know, enemies in the Division have absolutely zero health with a few exceptions, so I don't see this as a problem. As the community now has had months of weapon testing under its belt, a few weapons have popped up recently that started giving the original AK and SCAR a run for top dog. Now personally, I think all of these weapons I'm about to name are all going to be just as good as another. There really isn't going to be a first place. So first up, the Black Market AK, a tried and true weapon. You cannot beat its stability with its powerful punch. Adding Armor Shred to this will already make an awesome weapon an even better platform. Next up, the lightweight M4. I actually had one of these drop as a 182 a while back, and it surprised the hell out of me. When modded, it reached insane rounds per minute while still keeping almost 10,000 in damage and an insane amount of accuracy. I could keep on the trigger all day without sacrificing a large amount of bullet spread, which drastically decreased the amount of shots missed, and it easily has double the range of an SMG. With bullets flying out at those speeds, the lightweight M4 will truly shred armor. Now, the LVOAC is a similar gun that will work as an M4 replacement. Finally, the ACR family, or the tactical ACR, comes in last. This has always been a great gun, and you can't beat its stability and its range. This comes as another good option. I believe the SCAR L and the ACR are pretty decent and very similar. Alright agents, we are nearing the end, hang in there, and now let's move on to LMGs. These are going to receive a 30% increase in damage as well, but it will apply to both sides of gameplay, the dark zone and the light zone. However, this damage only applies to targets that are out of cover. Now, for those who would like a little clarification on this, you are considered in cover whenever you snap onto a piece to shield yourself, even when you peek out over it to shoot. So if you're behind cover and then you press the left trigger, or if you aim out over cover and start shooting, this actually counts as being behind cover. This is also a reason why smart cover is such a big deal. With that in mind, think about current LMGs. The bigger ones like the M60 have lower damage but an insane amount of bullets per magazine. They usually run the middle 8,000s. Now, if you're out of cover, you're going to be doing the mid 10,000 range. That is a big deal considering some auto rifles don't even reach this much damage. The ones you should be keeping an eye out, however, will be the ones I recommend, and those LMGs kind of blur the lines between light machine guns and assault rifles. They usually have a lower mag count, but a higher damage overall. So if we take that 10,000 as our base number, it's going to be jumping into the 13,000 in terms of damage. So rushing shotgunners, those super tank LMG bros, or even unsuspecting agents, they will be hit very, very hard. And these guys with their larger than normal magazine and super long range will definitely be a contender in 1.3. So, what to look for? My recommendations are either going to be the LSW or the RPK. Now, they do have lower mag sizes, but with the right mods, you can't beat the damage these guys pump out for the amount of stability that you get. Now, they don't fire quite as fast, but that's a good trade-off. I would use these as a secondary weapon because once you have your enemies in cover, it's back to the same old crusty pre-update LMG. However, if they are in cover and pretty far away, you're actually going to be doing more damage with an LMG than an SMG. So, with all of this said, let's try to build a list of the top 5 weapons to pick in 1.3. Now, of course, every new weapon you see is going to be an instant grab. But if you're trying to find the top 5 best all around, this is what you should be looking for. Of course, this is all my opinion, and it's neither right nor wrong. But given what we know so far, in my experience, these are some of the weapons that I think will make a pretty decent impact in the next update. So, starting off with number 5, we have the M870 shotgun. While shotguns will be getting an awesome buff in PvP, it will really only benefit a few shotguns out of them all. I still believe they do need a bit of work, and this stagger method is a nice start, but I don't think it's going to be quite there yet. However, this shotgun right here in particular will be a beast to watch out for. Alright, let's move on to number 4. Now, because of its extra damage only working on unsuspecting enemies or rushers slash tank bros, the LSW light machine gun gets this spot. Now, the RPK would be a number 6 slot, but I like the overall feel of the LSW, and the smaller reticle along with more stability puts this one above the rest. I definitely prefer this over the Pakhan. Moving on to number 3, this spot goes to the AUG, the AUG. Now, while it is seeing a nerf, the AUG is a powerful weapon to begin with. With its high damage and decent mag size, you can't beat it for its close range DPS. The Vector could, but with the recent critical hit change switching to damage and 10% less damage overall, the Vector starts to show its weakness, and that is its mag size. Now, the AUG will still absolutely be a contender in the SMG category, and it shares this spot with the MP7. Next up, we have the number 2 spot, and it goes to the lightweight M4. Now, this thing absolutely blew me away in terms of damage, accuracy, and speed. I would have normally given this to the AK because it's beast all around and pretty much a tie, but because it's new to me and it's different, it catches my eye more so than usual. More so than that, it is a true bullet hose, and with armor damage being added to PvE, the more bullets the better, and this one gets them there better than most. Alright agents, this is it. Finally, my top spot and a number 1 overall is the MP5 ST. With the other SMGs being toned down just a little bit, critical hit damage will start favoring the larger mags, since there will be a larger chance to land more critical hits. Now, having 64 bullets in the mag and a rate of fire of up to 1,000, the MP5 ST is something that I'm not only using right now, but I'm using it with fantastic results. When the others get taken down just a bit, the other MP-style SMGs will move forward, and this one will be right at the top. Now, I didn't mention any of the new weapons because I really don't know them, and of course, this isn't a definitive list. There are tons of other weapons out there that could have taken up other spots and have been just as effective. But if you guys out there want to know what my list is, this is it and what I will be looking for when 1.3 drops. And of course, also the new weapons. But note guys, these are primaries only, and I didn't get into marksman rifles because they're all pretty much going to stay the same, and I don't really know what to expect from the SVD rifles. Even with a little more reticle bloom, the M1A and the M44 will still be the go-to for most people. Well, that's it guys, this is my list of weapons for 1.3, and I'm pretty sure these old weapons are going to shine. Now, moving forward, I still think SMGs, that nerf is not as big as everyone expects it's going to be, so they're going to be just as powerful, and still a great weapon to use in and out of the Dark Zone. However, I do think the MP5 will take the cake next week. Alright guys, that does it agents. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting the smaller YouTuber. If you want to stay up to date on everything Destiny and Division, Follow me on Twitter at SlyNation. It is the best place to stay up to date and informed about gaming in general, as well as new uploads from my channel. Couldn't do this without you all, and I'm proud to have all of you out there as subscribers. Until next time, this is your boy Sly. Done, gone, out.
Ammo inbound. Zone B secure.